type. Hold my baby squid, keep them out of sight. Talking about my life, government stay away. Let me drive, I'ma do it my own way. Squid in the ocean, swimming all alone. Ain't nobody telling me where to go. Living free, gotta stay true to myself. No need for interference from anyone else. Squid pro quo, that's the way to be. Living on my terms, setting myself free. Mama to my baby, protecting with my no government intrusion. I control my life.
Hey guys, it's Squid. Welcome back to the channel. Hey Flash fan, how are you? It has been an interesting evening trying to get the little one down for a nap. Or down for bedtime. Geez, that's how I am today. The mister has feels like he's getting the flu. It's just a day. So we are going to get straight into this because we have a busy morning or tomorrow, and this mama didn't get sleep last night. So this mama needs sleep. Hung Hero, thanks for getting us kicked off with the obligatory $2 super chat. I appreciate you. And Flash fan, there's a few people here. I understand that Megan and Tug are live right now. They went from doing Tuesdays with Tug and Thursdays with Tug to every day with Tug. So I can't stream at night without I had somebody write me the other day and say, maybe you shouldn't go live tonight because other people are going live. And it's like, no, that's not how I roll. I go live when I want to go live because I have a channel too. Hey, Jeannie, how are you? Hey, Kinley. Get the spicy stuff ready. For every $25 in super chats, I am eating one of these flatline garlic cloves. Yeah, again, with them telling, it's like you can never. I'm sorry for anybody who doesn't know how a YouTube channel works. There is millions of YouTube channels. There is no way that you are ever going to stream and not have somebody else that you watch, that you know, that you talk to, that your viewers also watch, that is going to not be live at the same time. It is just the way things work. And I just can't stress enough. I don't run my YouTube channel by the way everybody else tells me what to do. If I try to work around everybody else's schedule, that means they're more important than me, or I think they're more important than me. They might be bigger than me, but nobody is more important to my channel than me. So we're just going to get that one out of the way right now. So if you ever feel the need to contact me and tell me that maybe I shouldn't go live at this time because somebody else that you want to watch is going live at the same time, that's a you problem, not a me problem. Flash fan, this is my former supervisor who used to co-sign my notes. Jeannie and I go way back. Yeah, run my channel the way I want to. Yes, exactly, King Paco. If I try to work around everybody else's schedule, that's not how I roll. I don't do that in life. Yes, I collaborate with people, and yes, we try to work out times that are best. But I'm sorry, a Wednesday night, thousands of people stream right now. And if I worried about what everybody else is doing on their channels, I would never have any content. So, it is just this, it's the way this goes. So we are going to get into this. We are covering a night court case. of the state of Vermont versus Joseph Ferlazzo. We are on day 2, and it's been about 3 weeks, maybe a month since we've done this, because of the fact of the holidays and things just being crazy. So we are going to hop right in. Let me go like this. Theater mode. Let's get rid of the chat. And let me share. We left off at the end of somebody's testimony 2 hours into day 2. There we go. And this was the case of Joseph Ferlazzo is and the little is fighting bedtime, and she just got out of her bed, and she's either running into the bedroom by her father, or she's going to make her way out here. So we're going to get this started so I can go investigate my little. Alrighty. And let me know if y'all can hear that. We are going to, and I forgot to change this speed. That's what I forgot to do. So, playback speed 1.25.
Solemnly affirm that the evidence you shall give relative to the cause now under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, and aims and penalties. Yes.
Good afternoon. Good morning. Can you state your name and spell your last name, please?
Seth Richardson, RICHARDSON.
Okay. And how are you employed?
Currently employed by the Vermont State Police.
Okay. The acoustics in here are not great, so try to keep your voice up so they can hear you in the back. Currently employed by the Vermont State Police?
Yes.
Okay. And how long have you worked for the Vermont State Police?
13 years.
Were you employed by them in October of 2021?
Yes, I was.
And at some point, did you become involved in an investigation related to Emily Ferlazzo?
Yes.
When did you become involved?
It was on the morning of the 19th.
And in what capacity did you become involved?
Some detective sergeant assigned to the major crime unit, my commanding officer, had contacted me and asked me to respond.
Okay. When the major crimes unit is needed, are all of the members of the major crimes unit sort of brought in?
Generally, yes.
Okay. And so where did you travel from?
My residence in Rutland, Vermont.
Okay. Upon arrival at the St. Albans Barracks, what tasks were you given related to this investigation?
So I was paired with Detective Sergeant Sam Truex, who is since retired. We were asked to go to the Lang's residence, inquire if Jason Lang would participate in the interview, and if so, during that interview, if we could obtain consent to search his property.
Okay. And did you search the property?
Yes.
Did you locate Emily on the property?
No.
And did you return to the barracks?
Yes.
After that? And so what tasks were you next given related to the investigation?
So shortly after I returned to the barracks, I had learned that Joseph had come to the barracks, or was brought to the barracks, and that would be assisting Detective Sergeant James Voris with interviewing Joseph.
Okay. What information did you have about the case prior to going into the interview?
Really not much. That it was a missing person complaint. It was somewhat suspicious, and at that point, I don't remember if the RV was seized or was in the process of being seized.
Okay. What was your role during the interview?
Just a co-interviewer, I guess a second interviewer in the room.
Okay. So the jury has seen the video. Is it you in the room with Detective Sergeant Voris?
Yes.
Okay. And were you present when Detective Sergeant Voris read Mr. Ferlazzo his Miranda rights?
Yes, I was.
Miranda warnings. And so did you witness him waive those rights?
Yes, I did.
Did he have any questions or concerns about those warnings?
No.
Did he make any statements about wanting to talk to you?
Joseph was eager to talk to us. Joseph said he was there to talk to us. He told James that essentially didn't need to beat around the bush.
Okay. And did you, we've heard obviously the whole interview. So did you have concerns initially in speaking with Mr. Ferlazzo about his ability to speak with you?
No.
Okay. Was there ever a time in the times that he was spoken to where it wasn't recorded?
No.
Did you ever feel like he wasn't responding to the questions appropriately?
No.
Did he ever say anything that gave you the impression he didn't want to engage with you?
No.
Did you ask Mr. Ferlazzo if he was willing to provide a buccal swab of his DNA?
Yes, I did.
And did he agree to that?
Yes, he did.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as States 128. Do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell the jury what it is?
This is a Vermont State Police consent to search form. The form here, the biological is checked off with corresponding DNA and photos of Joseph Ferlazzo. That's my signature as a witness, and that's Joseph's signature on the sign line.
States 128.
Any objection, Ms. Johnson? 128 is admitted without objection.
This is showing States 128. Is this the form that you went over with Mr. Ferlazzo?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And is that his signature down in the lower right-hand corner?
Yes.
Okay. And did he have any concerns about signing this form?
No.
After completing the initial interview, did you bring Mr. Ferlazzo outside for a cigarette break?
Yes, I did.
And was that interaction recorded?
Yes, James was recording the recording us.
Okay. And did you ask him any questions about Emily during that time?
No.
Have you listened to that recording in preparation for today's testimony?
I have.
The state has marked it as Exhibit 130. Judge, we would ask to admit it as evidence.
Objection.
Okay, 130 is admitted without objection.
And just like always during like pauses like this, I'm going to be trying to skip through as much of that as possible. That's what we do on night court. We keep the awkward silence.
Joe, you okay? You want to stay sleeping or relight a cigarette? Seth is going to grab one. They asked for one off a while back. We're just trying to get some things squared away here. Everything's okay for now. We're just, things take time, So, but you grab the cigarettes or if you want to sleep, you want to sleep. All right.
And I'm sorry it's so hard to hear. Courtroom audio sucks.
Sleep in there? Not really. It's about 8 o'clock.
Can't really hear anything, but that lawyer just, her voice. I don't know what it is with people's voices lately. Just making me. Tell me you have someplace better to be without telling me. Hey, Christine. Okay, group consensus. I might just skip this because all I can hear is road noise. Flash fan, it's your call. And I'm convinced all courtrooms have terrible audio so that it defers or detracts people from watching. I'm convinced.
It is 8:15. That was we provided a cigarette to Joe, Detective Sergeant Richardson, and Detective Sergeant Morris.
Parts of that are difficult to hear. Can you give just a quick summary of sort of what was discussed?
Yeah, so essentially, Joe and I were having a conversation about when my workday started, when I was scheduled to finish my shift, apologized to me. Joe was wearing a sweatshirt that I also have. We talked about that, the weather, and that's really it.
Okay. Your Honor, the state would seek to admit 131, which is the transcript of that conversation. No objection.
It's 131 is admitted without objection.
So after this conversation, did he go back to the holding cell?
Yes.
And did you eventually approach him again for additional questions?
Yes.
The jury has heard that recording. It appears that you asked most of the questions during that interaction.
Yes.
What was the primary purpose of that later interview?
To try to discern where Emily's belongings were. I think there was a question about. Some shoes, glasses, cell phone. We were trying to figure out where that stuff was.
Okay. And he had stated to you that he believed they were in he'd thrown them out in a market basket grocery bag?
Yes.
Is that right? And you said in sort of in the beginning, one of your first tasks was to go to the Langs to search that property. And you didn't locate Emily. No. Where was Emily ultimately located?
Inside the RV or van.
Okay. And was that on the Langs property?
At one point it was. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Let's see if she goes back to her room by herself.
Ms. Johnson?
I do, Your Honor.
Why don't we take them up at one? We'll take our lunch break. Again, please don't discuss the case with anyone. Don't try and find out any information about the case from any outside source.
All right. They're at lunch. North. Yep. I'm not thinking I like very much how Vermont runs their courtrooms, but maybe it's because it's small. I can't really say.
Detective Sergeant Richardson, we have one more trooper before Amy Nolan, who is quite long testimony. And some of her testimony involves physical evidence being brought in. And so we wanted, if the court's okay with about a 5-minute break between Sam and Amy, so that Ms. Johnson can look at all of the physical evidence and determine whether she's stipulating before we have to present it to the witness.
That would be great. And what, you take 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
And Judge, one other thing, I got some comments during lunch that it was difficult to hear you in the gallery when you were reading the stipulations. And so hopefully that's not the same for the jury as well, but I just wanted to
Okay.
give that feedback.
Okay. We're back on the record in State versus Joseph Ferlazzo Jr. Those last comments were in that case. After lunch break, about 1:08 p.m. now. Testimony, so, Detective Sergeant Richardson, as soon as the jury comes in.
Just called somebody in the comments and asked clown. Well, if the gallery can't hear, neither can the mics. and then maybe neither can the jury. So, no. So while we're waiting, someone just said, "You are absolutely painful to listen to. Stick to the topic and stop getting distracted." I said, "No one's making you stay." Bye, Felicia. If you're gonna or give constructive criticism, try not to sound like an ass clown. So this person's name is Tim in San Diego 6979. That tells me all I need to know right there. You're a Californian. Need I say more about your attitude?
Jury is all present now after lunch. I'll ask the questions I always ask. Did anybody learn anything new about this case or anything about this case while at lunch? Seeing all shakes of the head no. With that, we'll resume the testimony of Detective Richardson, who is still under oath. And I think we're on cross, Ms. Johnson.
We are. Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, Detective Richardson.
Good afternoon.
I believe before lunch, when Ms. George was questioning you, she had asked you if you had recently reviewed or viewed the interview video.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, just making sure. So,
Ma'am, I reviewed the video that she was referencing, not the entire. Okay.
that's fine. I understand. Thank you. Do you recall at the beginning of the interview, Mr. Ferlazzo saying, "I haven't really eaten much and I've been up for days"?
Yes, I do.
And then he followed that up by saying, "My mind isn't right." Do you recall that?
I remember something to that effect, yes.
Did you or Detective Morris didn't inquire further as to what he meant by that, did you?
No.
You had no concerns at that point that he might not be able to provide an accurate account of what happened because he was saying at the outset, "My mind isn't right." Is that correct?
Yes.
That was a long question, sorry. And at various points during the interview, Mr. Ferlazzo stated that he was really tired, correct?
I don't know how many times he stated it, but yeah, I know that he stated at least once that he was tired.
Thank you. Do you recall about an hour into the interview, roughly, Mr. Ferlazzo said, "I'm just really tired. I don't know what day it is now. I'm not able to have a clear thought." Do you recall that?
Not specifically, no, I don't.
Okay. Would it help if I showed you the transcript to refresh your recollection?
Sure, yes.
Okay. So I'm going to show you. Oh, I haven't marked it, sorry.
I was kind of a jerk, but I said, "But you're from California, so that tells me all I need to know about your personality, and I don't really want to hear anyway. So we'll say
So
this
I'm
with
gonna
more
show
passion
you
this
what's
time."
been
Hi,
marked as
Felicia.
Defendant's Exhibit A, and I'm going to give you the page and the lines
Stay safe, Cynthia.
where that particular section is located. All right. So,
And I'm just going to pause and give a PSA for my channel. This is a commentary channel. I give my opinions and I talk to my chat because I enjoy my chat. If you have a problem with me reading something because I stop and pause and I talk to my chat and get distracted a little bit, you can go to Pacer yourself and you can pay for the documents, and then you don't have to worry about anybody. But that requires you actually working instead of just tuning into a YouTube channel. So my guess is that dude is lazy and just won't do it.
transcript of the entire first segment of the interview, and this is page 32, and it's lines 11 through 13. And yeah, that's, take a look at that.
I love the people that come to a YouTube channel, a commentary channel, and complain about commentary.
Can you repeat your question?
I just asked if you recall him saying that at that point in the interviews.
Right, can you reference what he said, what you're asking me?
Sure, sorry about that. So I asked you if you recall, about an hour into the interview, Mr. Ferlazzo saying, "I'm just really tired." I believe you also referenced something about falling into a hole, and I don't know what day it, excuse me, it is now. I'm not able to have a clear thought.
Yes.
Thank you.
I told
And
posted
again,
another comment.
looks like there was no concern about resuming the interview, no concern that he wasn't able to provide accurate information. Is that correct?
Correct.
Do you recall, Joseph, at one point, Mr. Ferlazzo was being asked to provide more details about what happened on Friday and early Saturday, and he said, "All I can remember is like a jumble. It was basically like flashes, like if you go to a disco and look up and there's nothing."
Yes, I do.
Again, that type of jumble and flashes did not concern you as far as the way he was thinking?
Excuse me. It didn't, because before and after, he gave other accounts of the way he was feeling and felt at the time, which made sense to me.
Okay, thank you. About an hour and 10 minutes into the interview, do you recall Mr. Ferlazzo suddenly putting his head down and suddenly asking for water?
I don't.
Okay. At that point, you don't recall that you and Detective Boris, when he put his head down and asked for water, both of you did in fact say, "Okay, we'll get you some water," and then you left.
I don't remember that, no.
All right. And Detective Truex came in, so I'm guessing on the video at that point, he was hyperventilating and crying. So you did not witness that. Is that accurate?
No.
Okay. And then the questioning resumed roughly 15 minutes, roughly after that. Correct? It resumed after you.
Yes, it resumed after, yes.
Thank you. You drafted a report detailing the actions that you took on the case between October 19th, 2021 and October 21st, 2021, correct?
Yes.
And in the report, you stated that the interview of Mr. Ferlazzo on the 19th of October 2021 occurred in multiple segments over several hours in various locations within and outside the barracks, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Replay crew.
The first segment, I'll just reference it the way you did, that was the initial interview with some breaks, understandably, but the initial interview, which took approximately 2.5 hours. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Let's see. And I think at that point, it looks like, so the interview ended at that point, that segment at about 5 o'clock. Is that correct?
I mean, I can't confirm that. I mean, yeah, I mean, that sounds accurate.
At that point, I think you and Detective Morris left and Mr. Ferlazzo laid down on the floor. Do you recall that?
Yes, I remember him laying down.
Okay. And although we can't tell, it's assumed that he was probably sleeping, but he was laying down on the floor, whether he was sleeping or not, correct?
Yes, he was laying down on the floor.
Okay. And then at about 6 or 10 minutes of 6, after he'd been laying on the floor, he was moved to a holding cell, correct?
Yes.
And then the next interaction with Mr. Ferlazzo was approximately 8:10. And I think you and Detective Morris woke him up to see if he was okay. And then at that point, took him outside the barracks for a cigarette, correct?
Yes.
And then we brought him back into the holding cell around 8:15 and he laid back down, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at about 9:18, you and Detective Morris woke him up again, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I'm confirming that we did wake him up. I can't verify the times, but yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm referring to times if you would like. Yeah, we know.
Okay, so basically, they took him back to the cell. He was asleep and they woke him up. Like, what is she trying to get at here? That he was tired, so he can't answer questions appropriately? The damn man murdered his wife and then went to a barbecue. Make it make sense. Like, this is why I hate defense attorneys lately, because they always ask the dumbest questions. They have no... It's like they come unprepared to court, and all they can do is restate a timeline that has already been established multiple times.
Always look at it, but, and then you did have at that point, you wanted to ask him a few more things and asked him if he was willing to answer more questions.
Yeah. Yes.
He was groggy at that point, correct?
No, I wouldn't say groggy.
Okay. As alert as he was previously, or?
Yeah, I would say so.
And you told him again that you had some additional questions. I believe you also gave him the option of going back to the interview room or remaining in the cell, correct?
James asked him,
Okay.
gave him the choice.
It was hard to tell since that was audio. All right, thank you. And do you recall Joseph responding by stating, "I'm just trying to let my mind rest"?
Yes.
Okay. But at that point, you resumed the questioning, correct?
Yeah.
And I believe that lasted about another 20 minutes, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
No redirect, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're all set.
And this is also, we've learned that not all attorneys are good litigators. Yeah, they don't make it defense attorneys like Jose Baez, but it's the point of the matter as far as like they ask the same, like Harry said, they ask the same question a million times by rewording it. Bubbles did that in the deposition. They don't, there's no originality in the, like, do some research and find out, like, I would have been like, is it true that when someone's groggy, their recall memory can be off? Not just, oh, he was tired. There's a lot of people who do a lot of things productively and effectively when they're tired. Exhibit A. I cleaned a whole house today. Tired AF. Like, if you're going to, in my opinion, this is just what I would do if I was that defense attorney. I would come up with some, okay, if this is going to be my line of questioning, I need to know why this is my line of questioning and what I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to make it look like they questioned him when he was not fully aware. So I would say, is it true that, I would cite facts and ask yes or no questions. Don't give him any open-ended shit. If you give a cop an open-ended question, you're going to get screwed. Yes or no questions only. And like I said, this is just my personal opinion, but I would be like, do you always interview or defendants right when they wake up? Is it true that your recall memory can be off when you first wake up and your memory can change? Ask him questions that make it seem like they effed up. Insert that doubt into the jury's mind of maybe they did not. Cynthia, he said self-defense, but self-defense is not like multiple gunshots and multiple stab wounds, and then you dismember and try to hide the body. So it's a little overkill in my mind, but that's just my personal opinion. But let's see what we got going on. Like, these crosses are just, these defense attorneys are ineffective. Yes, they have very poor case facts, but at the same time, all you have to do, your whole job is to introduce reasonable doubt. So if you can show that they questioned him when he was not in a right state of mind, all you have to do is introduce that doubt. You don't have to be 100% correct. You just have to introduce that doubt into one person's mind. That's it.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you please state your name and spell your last name?
Yep, my name's Samuel Truex, Truex.
The acoustics are not great in this room, so if you can keep your voice up so that the back jurors can hear you.
Okay.
This
Can you tell
courtroom
us how
sucks.
you are currently employed?
I am currently retired from the Vermont State Police,
Okay. And when did you retire?
November 30th of this year.
And how long had you been employed at the Vermont State Police?
Over 26 and a half years.
Okay, so you were employed with them in October of 2021?
Yes, I was.
And at some point, did you become involved in the investigation related to Emily Ferlazzo?
Yes, on Tuesday, October 19th, 2021.
And how did you become involved?
Detective Lieutenant John Paul Schmidt asked me to respond to the St. Albans barracks and said that there was a missing person complaint that was suspicious in nature.
Okay. And upon arrival at the barracks, were you given a specific task?
I was given a couple tasks. One was to sit in on the interview with Joseph Ferlazzo.
Okay. And during that, did you have an opportunity to speak with Mr. Ferlazzo yourself?
Yes, I did.
And the jury has seen the video. So are you the individual that sort of comes in during the breaks and sits with Mr. Ferlazzo?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And the first time that you went into the interview room, was Mr. Ferlazzo eating?
Yes, he was.
And Did you ask him if he needed anything?
I believe Amy got him lunch, and then Seth was in the process of getting him some hot coffee at his request.
Okay. And at any point, did you ask him if he needed anything else?
He asked me, or he told me he had to go to the bathroom at one point, so I escorted him down the hall to the bathroom and back.
Okay. And at one point during the interview, did Mr. Ferlazzo ask you to stay in the room with him?
Yes, he asked me if I'd sit down and stay in there with him.
Okay. Were you planning on doing that anyway?
I wasn't, but I agreed to do that.
And did you have a conversation with him during that time?
Yes.
And who initiated that conversation?
I think he initiated it.
Did he ask you questions about taking him somewhere?
He made a comment. He asked me if we're going to take him someplace so he can't do that again.
Okay. And how did you respond?
I don't recall exactly what my response was.
Okay. What are some of the other things that you talked about with Mr. Ferlazzo?
He just asked me generally about myself, the police. We talked about, I asked him questions about being a tattoo artist. What was his favorite part? He asked me what my favorite part of being a police officer was. He asked kind of about like the team of detectives and how things worked, where everybody was assigned. We talked about his dog, Remington. I told him that Remington was at his friend Jason's house and that the dog was okay being there, but he probably would have to make arrangements for long term.
At any point, have you ever sat in on interviews like this before in your career?
Yes,
Have you interviewed people who have been charged with murder before?
I have.
And at any point during your interactions with Mr. Ferlazzo, did you have any concerns about his ability to be engaging in a conversation with the police?
No, our conversation went both ways. He was actually very cordial and nice to me, and he asked questions. I asked questions of him. It was just a give and take.
And at some point, were you able to find him a cigarette at his request?
Yeah, he asked for a cigarette. I asked one of the detectives who brought one in, and then we brought him outside for a cigarette break, I think on 2 different occasions.
Okay. And he made some comments about possible self-harm. Do you recall that?
Yeah, at one point he said he wished someone would take him out. And I had said to him that if you have any thoughts of hurting yourself, you need to let me know. He says, well, if I had a gun, I would do it. But I don't have a weapon, so I can't. All I have is this hot coffee.
And again, did him making those comments give you any concerns about his ability to continue to engage in a conversation?
No, I was just concerned for my safety, being in the room with him, and just for his own safety as well.
Okay. And when you would leave the room and come back in, did he recall who you were?
Yes.
Did he recall you by name?
Yes. When I left after, well, he was still eating. He just said, "Thank you, Sam," when I stepped out of the room.
And when you'd come back in the room, did he recall your name?
Yes.
Did you ever feel like he wasn't responding to your questions appropriately?
No.
At any time that he asked for anything, did you get him what he asked for? Or did anytime he asked for food or drinks?
Yeah, if he needed food, if he wanted another hot coffee, to use the bathroom, another cigarette, we were very accommodating.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Ms. Jansch.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So you've described kind of almost like a switch flipping back and forth between engaging in small talk with Mr. Ferlazzo and him expressing concerns about, or him becoming upset. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And both of those occurred during your interactions with him, right?
Yes.
You do recall him saying at least once that his brains were scrambled, don't you?
Yes.
And that he was not thinking clearly. You recall that as well.
Yeah, he said that he needed to talk to an expert that could help him because of his an expert in scrambled brains.
Scrambled brains.
Yes.
And you responded by saying, yes, we have people you can talk to.
Yes.
And he never did talk to any kind of mental health person after he was processed, did he?
I don't know if he did.
But that's what you told him would be available to him, correct?
Yes, and I said that we, as in like the state of Vermont corrections, have that access for that. Yes.
observed that he, at one point, started hyperventilating, correct? Breathing like this.
I know what that is. I was just trying to recall. I haven't seen the video. And
You didn't, I'm sorry?
I didn't review the video before coming here. today. I
Okay.
don't have access.
And you don't have a recollection of being in the room when that happened?
I feel like I remember him crying or starting to cry a couple times,
Sobbing,
sobbing.
sobbing.
Yes.
And you said to him, "Are you okay?" Right?
I did ask him if he was okay, and he told me he was not.
He was not, that's what he said. "I'm not okay."
Yes.
Um,
And I told him that he's going to have to take it one day at a time, that it's going to take time.
So you were, correct me if I'm wrong, trying to calm him down. Is that a fair assessment of the kinds of things you were saying to him?
I was just trying to reassure him,
Reassure him about what?
just the traumatic incident that he's involved in, just the kind of things are going to be okay, trying to just keep a steady.
He also said to you that more than once, what happens next? Because he seemed to be unfamiliar with the process. Do you remember that?
I don't recall exactly.
Okay. And you were aware that the interview was being live streamed to another room, correct?
Yes.
So he was under observation by other law enforcement the entire time, correct?
Yes, he was.
So even if you didn't observe his complete, I'm going to call it meltdown, he was being observed, correct?
And that was all recorded in that room as well.
In that room.
Yes.
One moment, please, Judge.
This lawyer, like, I don't think she asked very
Thank you. I don't
effective
have any other
questions.
questions for you.
Can you redirect?
No, Judge.
Thank you.
I don't have any more questions because I have no rebuttal
All
to
right.
what you said.
The next witness, there may be a number of exhibits, so we have to gather them and discuss them a little bit, but we'll be back with you probably 10 minutes. We'll
That
need
part.
to go through them, so we'll excuse you to the jury room again and come back as soon as we can.
All right, once again, we're skipping that because we skipped the
Photographs. I believe the only objection on any of those.
there we go. I skip ahead, but I don't want to miss anything either. There's a fine line.
All right, I should be able to deal with this without my computer. How are we doing?
We're doing great, Judge. There's no objections to any of the physical evidence. And the state has a lot of photographs. I believe the only objection on any of those is maybe reassessing an objection about the body, the pictures of Mr. Ferlazzo.
Right.
But I'm sort of hopeful we can just do all of that now and then we can
Sure.
present all the evidence that's been.
Sure. I mean, and yeah, Ms. Jansch wants to bring that all up again in front of the jury one way or another. Let's get that done. Okay, so which exhibit numbers would you, is the 30s, the ones, or are there some before that you want to address?
So I have this on 1.25 speed. Could you imagine if we had to listen to this at regular speed? People talk so damn slow. Or maybe I just talk fast. I don't know.
25 to 36.
Yeah.
Yep, I have this at 1.25 speed.
I can't do the objection because it's your witness.
Do we need this right now? Or can we move that at this point? Oh, you're going to use that for all these exhibits?
Yeah.
It's just, I'm sorry I can't see you, Ms. Johnson.
I can move it back.
Can you, just at least for now, while we're talking about this, and then we can move
Just to
it back?
clarify, Judge, do you want us to renew the grounds for the objection to 22 to 36?
But you can renew it for the reasons already stated, or if there's anything you wish to add to those reasons, you may bring that up now.
Renewing it for the reason. Go ahead.
I'm just renewing it, Judge.
All right.
Same
Um,
objection.
Is there anything specific in my order? I did mention other things regarding specific tattoos that were reflected. Do you care if those come in?
Hey, please,
No.
Thunder.
So the only exhibit I thought about, if I can get it back up. I don't think,
Flash fan. I got a book you might like.
maybe.
What number is that? 32, 33, 34. 32.
No, 32 is not the one I'm thinking of. Please. It was the, I think it's 31. The kind of close up of the chest and stomach area. It seemed to me another picture got it from a little further back without it being quite so suggestive. And I wondered if we used that one.
I'm wondering what tattoos he has
Are
that
you
we're
asking
so
me
worried
that?
about
Well, no, I finally got
showing
the
his.
picture.
Which number is it, Judge?
It's 31. It's not, again, it's another picture which shows the whole body. It shows a touch more than the far off picture, which I think might have been 30. Let me see. But there was. Can I get the pictures for a second? I'm not getting them all on. Is it 30 that is the whole? No, it's 29. I thought that captured it okay, and I didn't. 31 seemed to be was a close up of 29. I really don't think any of them though are prejudicial in the sense of unfairly prejudicial that 403 speaks of. They're just pictures of his body.
Judge, the reason I specifically also picked that one is because during the interview, he's pointing to that particular area and indicating that he might
Yeah, I
have an
saw
injury there. So that was a specific choice made so that the jury has a closer up view of that area.
I'm going to allow them then for the reasons already indicated in my order.
If Your Honor would note my objection, our original objection.
We have in mind your original objection. My understanding though is there's nothing specific to any of the tattoos that are reflected on the pictures that's problematic.
I don't know.
Other
I would lose my shit.
exhibits that you wanted to discuss.
That's why I just comment on
So
it.
there's nothing else no other photographs. Would you approach for 1 minute?
Slash fan, I bought this book when I was in South Carolina. They have whole like gullah cookbooks, and it's just an interesting. Like I was talking to someone and she had the book, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy that from you because honestly, I had never heard of them. But there's still a bunch of gullah people in one of the islands off of South Carolina. So they've got a whole, like a Creole type language. Come on. There you go. When I start reading it, I'll let you know.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, let's bring them in. Are there any stipulations coming in?
All right, do you want them now?
You don't have to. You can do it, whatever's easiest for you in conducting your examination.
Here's the thing. I don't believe they show these exhibits, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to be a little possible fast forwardy because we don't want to give anybody a trigger warning. And sometimes these files show things that we really don't want to see. Right, juries come in. I'm still waiting on a lawyer to have a suit that fits.
Please be seated.
and is ironed at the same time.
State we're back in the record in State versus Joseph Ferlazzo Jr., 21 CR 8967. The parties have had an opportunity to meet and discuss various exhibits, and I think we're ready to proceed. Ms. George.
Thank you, Judge. The state would call Amy Nolan.
Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly affirm that the evidence you shall give relative to the cause now under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but and the pains and penalties of perjury.
Is it just me or does her shirt match her hair?
Good
A little
afternoon.
too perfectly.
The acoustics in this room are not good.
Okay.
So if you can keep your voice up so the jurors in the back can hear you, that'd be appreciated. Can you just start by telling us your name and spelling your last name? Actually, in your case, can you spell your first name as well?
Certainly. It's Amy, spelled Aimee. Last name Nolan, Nolan.
Okay. And did you formally work for Vermont State Police?
I did.
Okay. And are you now retired?
I am.
When did you retire?
October of 2023.
Okay.
She retired and got a nose
Please,
ring.
George, for 1 minute.
I like this one. Yeah, she's got a lot of piercings. She must have retired and kind of had her midlife crisis and, got a nose ring. No offense to anybody who has nose rings, but it's just interesting to see a retired woman with a nose ring. And Flash fan, it's like, just remember, they were taken out of their homes, but they were taken out of their homes by their own people. That's the incredibly sad part. Whatever happened is sad, but the initiating was they were taken out of their homes by their own people. That is what I believe is the worst part. Someone didn't come in and capture you. You were sold by your neighbors. So unfortunate. I mean, we can't change history, but we can learn from it. And that's one of the problems I have with people trying to erase history and change names on things and statutes. Statutes are monuments to show pride in something. It's to show what
Thank you.
and make sure nobody forgets what happened.
You were employed with the Vermont State Police in October of 2021.
Correct.
Okay. And what was your rank at the time?
Detective Sergeant?
Okay. Was that your rank at the time of retirement?
Yes.
And what was your assignment with the Vermont State Police at that time?
I was the assistant commander of the crime scene search team for the Vermont State Police.
Okay. And can you just tell us what that sort of generally means?
Sure. The crime scene search team is a team of 20 members and 2 commanders. We respond to homicides, officer-involved shootings, and other questionable death investigations. And the team specializes in processing the crime scene, collecting evidence.
Okay. Approximately how many crime scenes and death investigations have you participated in?
Well over 150.
And in mid-October, October 15th or 16th of 2021, were you made aware of an investigation related to Emily Ferlazzo?
I was not notified until the morning of October 19th.
Okay. So prior to that, you were not involved in the case?
No.
Okay. And what information were you provided on October 19th?
I received a call from Major Crimes Unit Supervisor. One of the lieutenants advised that there was a new case requesting my presence at the St. Albans Barracks for a briefing later that morning.
Okay. And did you in fact attend that briefing?
I did.
And what further information did you learn?
Excuse me. At that point, I learned that the state police was notified the prior day of a missing person, Emily Ferlazzo, that there were some suspicious circumstances surrounding that, that Mr. Ferlazzo, Emily's husband, had told a friend that he had killed her, and that the state police had seized a camper van as well as a Jeep that belonged to Mr. Ferlazzo.
Okay. And so what was your sort of plan or task for the day?
Initially, there was a lot of waiting around, learning new information as it was found. The search warrant was being worked on to be able to search the van and the Jeep. So I took it upon myself to sort of scour the internet, social media pages for both Emily and Joseph Ferlazzo, trying to find acquaintances that we might be able to interview, seeing if anyone had posted any comments or anything we could learn about Emily's potential whereabouts.
Okay. And at some point, did you take a break to go get food?
I had had lunch, but to be honest, I'd had enough coffee that morning. So I decided to go to the store knowing it was going to be a late night. I wanted an energy drink and some snacks for the team once they got there. So I believe it was
knew I
around
liked
2 in the
her.
afternoon. I did leave the barracks and go to a local convenience store.
Okay. And what was that convenience store called?
Maple Fields?
Okay. And that was in St. Albans?
Yes.
Right. And who did you go there with?
One of the other team members that had arrived at the barracks, Brandon Gallant.
Okay. And who drove?
I did.
What did you drive? What vehicle did you drive?
I drove my state-issued cruiser, if you will.
Okay. And can you describe that vehicle?
Sure. It's an F-150 truck with an extra cab and an extended bed on it. So it's a rather large vehicle.
Okay. How many seats are in the vehicle?
Technically seating for 6. It was a bench seat in the front and a bench seat in the back. But my back seat was full of equipment. And then in the front seat, I usually kept the center console folded down for like a drink holder, things like that. So most comfortably 2, impossibly 3.
That sounds
Is
very
there a
uncomfortable.
secure area of this vehicle like many police cruisers?
No,
So the entire inside of it is accessible?
open, correct.
Does it have any sort of Vermont State Police insignia on it?
No, completely unmarked.
What were you wearing that day?
I was wearing my crime scene uniform, which is a pair of cargo style, I'd say tan pants, a green polo shirt with the state police emblem, and it said CSST on it. But that was covered with a plain black fleece. So I didn't have any obvious markings of the state police on my person that day.
You weren't wearing a state trooper uniform that we've all
No,
seen?
I was not.
Okay. How far away is the Maple Fields from the St. Albans Barracks?
She
It's approximately a
disappeared
mile down the road.
again.
So can you tell the jury what happened when you pulled into the Maple Fields?
Sure.
We're
Due to
gonna-
the size of the
we're
truck,
getting
it
to
wasn't
that.
practical to park in sort of a normal parking spot, if you will. The back end of the vehicle would stick out several feet. So I often chose to park, not in a parking spot, along a parking lot edge or something like that. So as I pulled in to the entrance to the store, I had my eye on a spot where I wanted to park sort of parallel to the road, well away from parking spots. I noticed a male was just sort of nonchalantly walking right where I wanted to park. So I was, I can't remember if I muttered it or if I just thought under my breath, like, oh my gosh, hurry up. That's where I want to park. So I sort of slowly, crawled behind the person until they diagonally cut across and went into the store.
And so once you entered the store, where did you immediately go?
Right to the back of the store where the coolers are located. That's where the energy drinks were.
And as you're walking towards the back of the store, did you notice anything?
I noticed that same male, I had sort of given him a nickname in my head of Hoodie because he was wearing his hood up. It was chilly that morning. And I noticed that same male that I had waited to move out of my way so I could park was also at the coolers. He had walked right to the back of the store as well.
Okay. And what was he doing?
He was getting a drink out of the cooler and sort of stepping back from the cooler at that time.
Did you recognize the male?
When he closed the door to the cooler and he turned around and we made eye contact, I was like, wait, I know this person. In that moment, I couldn't figure out where or why. My brain was still trying to catch up with me. But I knew I recognized him.
Okay. And did you ultimately determine how you recognized him?
Yeah, so he walked to the right and then turned to walk up to one of the aisles towards the front of the store. And he turned and looked at me again. And we locked eyes again. And at that point, I recognized that it was Joseph Ferlazzo.
Okay. And
That's why
how did you recognize him? What you've seen?
So I had spent, like I said, a lot of that morning sort of scouring through social media. I had seen dozens of pictures of Mr. Ferlazzo as well as Emily. And then also our public information officer for the state police was at the barracks that morning. He was preparing a press release that he was getting ready to put out with photos, which included Mr. Ferlazzo. And he had asked me to proofread that for him just before I went to the store. So it was like another look at Mr. Ferlazzo's face right before I left.
Okay. And where did that mail go?
Up to the front of the store to the cash register area.
And so what was the next thing you did with that information?
I told Brandon that's Joseph Ferlazzo. He's heading out of the store. I'm going to follow him.
Okay. And are you aware that this interaction with Mr. Ferlazzo was recorded?
Yes.
And how was it recorded?
Through the Maple Field surveillance video system.
And have you reviewed those?
I have seen those videos, yes.
I will be right back. The little made her way out into the living room again, and she turned on the TV. And now my TV, I think, is playing Duck Dynasty channel. So I have to go one more time. Wish me luck. Pray for me.
Judge, I have a stipulation for states 120.
So I was told my voice was not quite loud enough last time, perhaps for some of you, so I'm going to read a little louder this time. Stipulation number 5, members of the jury, the state and defendant Joseph Ferlazzo have agreed that you may find certain facts. This is called a stipulation. A member of the Vermont State Police collected surveillance video from the Maple Fields gas station in St. Albans, Vermont from October 19, 2021. That surveillance video was added to the case file and reviewed by Detective Sergeant Amy Nolan. The authenticity of the surveillance video is not being challenged. The chain of custody of the surveillance video is also not being challenged. As with any evidence in this trial, you must decide what weight you will give this stipulation. And that's Exhibit States 120, and no objection to that being admitted.
No objection.
Admitted without objection.
Do a quick technical check. Judge, the state would next move to admit states 23, which is the first Maple Fields video.
No objection.
States 23 is admitted without objection. Go back to States 23 is admitted without objection.
Thank you, Judge. Sorry about that.
And don't get me wrong, y'all. I love Duck Dynasty, but her bedtime is 8 o'clock. It is not 8 o'clock. She is fighting it, and I'm not doing it anymore. Y'all, send them super chats. I just got my Pacer quarterly amount due, and I owe $43 to the government.
At some point in the video, you appear to look at your phone. Can you just tell the jury what you're doing?
Yes, I feel like my body language is pretty clear at the moment that I recognize him. And I turn back around, I take my phone out, I say something to the trooper I was with, and I take my phone out because I'm looking for that press release to show the picture to Brandon and to sort of confirm my suspicions that it was Joseph Ferlazzo.
Okay. And is there another angle of this same sort of interaction within Maple Fields?
There is.
Judge, the state would move to admit states 24, second Maple Fields video.
No objection.
States 24 is admitted without objection.
She left her bed again. She left her bed again. Girl's bedtime was at 8 o'clock. We laid down at 7:30. I'll be back.
So after seeing who we believe to be Mr. Ferlazzo in the maple fields, did you in fact follow him outside?
I did.
Okay. And did you approach him outside?
I followed behind him. He was walking along the front of the store.
Okay. And what did you do? What was your interaction?
I said, Joseph, and the male kept walking, no acknowledgement. So then I said something to the effect of, hey, state police, can you stop for a second? I just need to talk to you.
Okay. And did the male stop?
He did.
Okay. And what did you do? Once the individual stopped, did they stop and actually turn around to face you and interact with you?
He did turn around and then took a very long, almost exaggerated drink of his energy drink, just looking at me, sort of the proverbial deer in the headlight look. It seemed to me, based on my training and experience, it was almost as if you were trying to figure out, fight, flight, freeze, what do I do?
Okay. And what did you say to him?
I said, Joseph, it's you, right? Are you okay?
Okay. And what did he do in reply?
He took his drink down and his body language sort of deflated. And he said, no, I'm not okay.
And what do you mean? Can you describe what you mean by his body language deflated?
Sure. As he was looking at me taking that drink, he seemed, quite tense again, sort of deer in the headlights. Do I run? Do I freeze? Do I fight? And he just sort of relaxed, if you will. Like I visibly saw his shoulders drop and his head kind of dropped a little bit. And he just said, no, I'm not okay.
Thank you for the
How far
$50 super
away
chat,
from
Harry.
you
Take care
was
of
he
it.
when you
Y'all are
first
awesome.
said state police?
Probably 10 feet approximately.
All right.
I didn't think my Pacer account was
And
going to be $50.
What did you,
or,
after he said, no, I'm not okay,
$40.
how did you respond to that?
I said, well, there's a lot of people looking for you and looking for Emily, and we're just trying to figure out where Emily is and what's going on. Her family's very worried about her.
And what was his response?
Let's go.
He said, let's go. Okay. And so what did you do?
I said, go where? And he said, wherever you're taking me. And I said, I'm not taking you anywhere. You're not under arrest. But if you want to come with me, I'll give you a ride to the barracks and we can get a detective just to talk to you.
Okay. And did he agree to that?
He did.
Sleep training sucks. It's
And
hard. It's hard, y'all.
Did you bring him in your vehicle?
We started to walk back across the parking lot towards my truck, yes. And stopped about halfway across the parking lot.
Okay. And why did you stop halfway across?
There was a moment where I thought Mr. Ferlazzo might pass out. He seemed a little unsteady on his feet. I said, you're okay. I asked his permission. I said, if it's okay, I want to just put my hand on your shoulder. And I did. And I said, I got you. I said, you're okay. I'll get you to the barracks and you can talk to somebody.
Okay. Did he make any statements or respond to that in any
No.
particular way? Okay.
And this
And
crime
so
was in
did you bring him back
2021,
to the barracks?
by the way.
I did. The other thing that we did sort of in that halfway point was I asked him and explained before I could give him a ride. It was our sort of protocol that we had to pat somebody down for weapons before I could allow him in my cruiser with me. And also because I don't have a typical cruiser with what they call the cage in the back to separate the officer from a person that they've picked up for some reason. So he said that was fine. He's indicated he had no weapon. So I patted him down real quick. And then I got into the driver's seat and Brandon walked him across to the passenger seat.
Did Brandon also get in the car?
He did not.
Was that because there wasn't any room?
Yeah, I told him I would come back and pick him up.
Okay.
I didn't think we needed to sit 3 across the front seat.
So it was just you and Mr. Ferlazzo in the ride back to the barracks.
Correct.
And did you speak to him during that time about Emily?
Not about Emily. I asked him, like I said, it was cold that day. I asked him, are you cold? He said he was. I turned the heat up. I said, have you been out all night? Based on the interactions that I knew had occurred the night before, he said he had. I asked him if he, was thirsty, if he was hungry. He said he was. And so again, I told him, I turned the heat up and I told him I would get him something to eat once we got back to the barracks.
How long were you in the truck with Mr. Ferlazzo?
Less than 5 minutes, probably.
Right. Did you see anything on the way to the barracks that sparked a conversation?
Yes, there was. So at one point in the video, as I start to walk towards the front of the store, I turned to Brandon and I told him to call dispatch to let them know what was happening. So that message had gotten relayed, and
Hopefully the
there was a
fourth time's
trooper
the charm.
coming to the store, lights and sirens.
Okay. And did Mr.
Thanks for your
Ferlazzo
patience
say
with
anything
me.
related to that?
He didn't. I sort of chuckled and said, I think they're looking for us. I said, but we're good, right? And we continued on, and I placed a call to my lieutenant at that time.
And could Mr. Ferlazzo hear that conversation with your lieutenant?
Yes.
Did you make any other calls during that time?
I also actually, let me back up. Before calling my lieutenant, I got on the radio to dispatch, and I clarified, I am in the truck with Mr. Ferlazzo. All units can stand down. I'm headed to the barracks.
Do you have a recollection of what time you arrived at the barracks?
I would say it was probably, if this interaction was around 2, as I remember, I would say probably 2:15.
Okay.
Approximately.
And when you arrived at the barracks, where did you park?
I drove around to the backside of the barracks, into the gated parking area of the barracks.
And did Joseph get out of the car?
I can't remember. I think I walked around to his side of the truck and opened the door for him, if I recall correctly.
Okay. And did you ultimately get him into the police barracks?
Yes, the station commander of the barracks was outside waiting for us, and together we walked inside the building, yes.
Did he still have the drink that he bought at Maple Fields?
At that point, I believe he did, yes.
But did you had said earlier you told him you would get him some food and drinks. Did you do that?
Eventually, yes. After a short period of waiting for an interview and a detective to be ready for Mr. Ferlazzo, as this was obviously not planned, I returned back to the store and got a sandwich and some chips.
At any point in your interactions with Mr. Ferlazzo, did you ask him any questions about Emily?
I did not.
Okay. And is the person that you identified in Maple Field as Mr. Ferlazzo and brought back to the barracks, is he in the courtroom today?
He is.
Can you just describe to the jury what he's wearing?
Certainly. He's sitting at the defendant's table wearing tan pants, a light gray shirt, and a black tie.
The state would request that the record reflect that's Mr. Ferlazzo.
They're directed.
Is it your understanding that he was then interviewed by Detective Sergeant Boris?
Yes.
Okay. And were you told at some point after what he indicated had happened to Emily?
In stages, yes.
Okay. And so did you become involved in this case in sort of different capacity at some point?
Certainly, what I was there for initially, and that was in the role of crime scene search team.
Okay. What was the first thing you did related to that role?
Based on Mr. Ferlazzo's statement, where there had been an altercation, my first assignment, if you will, was to photograph Mr. Ferlazzo to see if we could detect any marks, bruises, scratches, anything like that.
Okay. And the jury has seen the interview room and this process happening.
Okay.
When you first went into the interview room to do this, did Mr. Ferlazzo indicate remembering you or give any indication that he remembered you?
Yes.
And did he remember you by name?
I don't recall if he remembered me by name.
Okay. And so did you in fact take photographs of his condition?
I did. I also collected what we call buccal swabs to get a DNA sample from Mr. Ferlazzo.
Okay.
Cheek.
And Your Honor, the state
In case anybody
state
needs
to
to
admit
know.
states 25 through 36.
Okay.
For new and no early objections.
Objections, as earlier noted, but they'll be admitted over objection. 25 through
King Taco,
36.
I turned the TV on and I set the sleep timer because when she goes to bed
We're
with
just going
dad,
to
she
go through
watches
the
TV.
photographs if you can just explain
Right.
briefly what each one is.
She's just
Certainly.
being stubborn because,
So this is what we
my
would call
daughter,
an
why
overview
wouldn't she be?
photograph of Mr. Ferlazzo. And because you can't really capture someone unless you're standing really far away. We take them in segments, so upper body, mid, and then lower body. Mr. Ferlazzo's hands, front and back.
Too whitewashed.
This is Mr. Ferlazzo's upper body. It was explained to him that we would like to take photographs without his clothes on, but not completely naked, again, looking for marks or bruises. It was also offered to him, if I recall, being a female, if he wasn't comfortable. I did have another trooper with me that could take those photographs. So this is the upper, I would say, torso of Mr. Ferlazzo. And face and upper chest, mid chest and abdomen, upper legs, the backside of his legs,
They needed to not
and
use
front
the
of his lower
flash.
legs. This is a side, sort of more close-up photograph of his left side of his head and face. Full body back, upper back, I should say.
And did you note any injuries or observe any injuries or marks on his body?
There was one mark, and I remember asking him if, that was an injury or perhaps a birthmark. It was really hard to tell. I believe it was on the left side of the back of his head, sort of right in his hairline. So it was hard to detect. Other than that, I did not see any marks on his body.
Or bruises?
No.
And you did already state that you collected the DNA swabs.
Yes.
Do you recall, were those swabs from the cheek titled item 1A?
Yes,
One. And were they brought to the lab for testing?
they were.
Did you also supervise the collection of evidence from the van in question?
I did.
And have you reviewed all of the photographs taken of the van?
I have.
Judge, the state first has a stipulation. Number 6, states 121.
Yep.
I wonder what this one says.
No objection. Johnson.
I'm here now. No objection. Thank you.
Stipulation number 6, members of the jury, the state and defendant, Joseph Ferlazzo, have agreed that you may find certain facts. This is called a stipulation. Members of the crime scene search team, in parentheses, CSST, end of parentheses, collected, tagged, photographed, and processed pieces of evidence during the search of the camper van pursuant to a valid search warrant. CSST supervisors Amy Nolan and Aaron McNeil oversaw the collection, tagging, photographing, and processing of all evidence collected from the camper van. These items were ultimately stored at the Vermont State Police Barracks in Williston. These items were the same condition upon arrival at the barracks as they were when collected from the camper van during the searches on October 19th, 2021 and October 20th, 2021. Chain of custody is not being challenged as it relates to these items. As with any evidence in this trial, you must decide what weight you will give this stipulation. And that's State's Exhibit 2121 without objection.
Thank you, Judge. And the state would first move to admit states 37, 38, and 39.
No objection.
37 through 39 are admitted without objection.
Detective Sergeant Nolan, can you tell the jury what this photo is?
Certainly, this is a view of the right side, or if you're looking at the van from the front, the left side of the van that Mr. Ferlazzo and Emily were traveling in.
We're going to find out. I wonder
So
what
these
the inside
double
looks like.
doors on the right side here is the entrance.
Correct.
And this one?
This is the driver's side of the vehicle.
And this
The rear.
And Judge, the state would next move for states 40 through 75.
Okay, do you want to first give us 37 through 39? Or do you-
Yes.
I'll take them first.
Everybody is supposed to be asleep. This one, my little tiny human.
Any objection to 40 through 78?
No objection. Thank you.
Exhibits 40 through 78 are admitted without objection.
Are you play right now with your eye patch?
So we're gonna, the next group of photographs is from the inside of the van at the time of the search. What
Harry,
was
she
the
had one.
authority to
We don't
search the
say
van at
that
the
word
time?
after like.
We had
wow.
a search warrant.
Come here.
So I'm gonna show you First states 40. Can you tell the jury what this is showing?
Sure. This is a photo of the entrance and the steps up into the van. What you're seeing is, I believe, like a bug net or mosquito net over the door once the double door was opened. It's hard to see up there, but you're looking to where the driver's seat would be. And there was a curtain up over the driver's door for privacy over the driver's window.
Can you describe for the jury what this photo is of?
This is the bathroom of the van with several black household garbage bags on the floor of the shower.
States 42.
Another view of the bathroom from a little further away. Another photo of the bags in the bathroom.
Belly covered.
Here, the bags are numbered with placards that we use to identify our evidence items. So you're seeing 1 through 7.
This is the
Here you're seeing items 1 through
part.
8 laid out on butcher paper. The bags were taken out one at a time and placed onto butcher paper as we removed them and numbered them.
And is this how you refer to the bags moving forward, is by these numbers?
nap we didn't take when I was little.
Okay. States 46.
This is a 12-gauge shotgun that was located at the foot of the bed in the camper.
States 47.
This is looking at the head of the bed.
And so are these pillows?
Yes, these are bed pillows, the sheets, a blanket, a comforter perhaps, and then there was also a black duffel bag on the bed. This is a Glock firearm that was found underneath the pillows of the, I would say, front side of the bed.
A lot of
Again,
firepower
standing at the
for a
foot of the
little
bed,
van.
looking at it would be the left side of the bed. A more close-up image showing the Glock firearm.
Okay. And it's the 11 next door, next to it, mean that it was labeled item 11?
Correct, evidence item number 11.
It's still.
Was there a magazine in this firearm?
There was.
And I guess first, can you describe to the jury what a magazine is?
Sure, a magazine is what holds the rounds of ammunition in a semi-automatic pistol like this. So the magazine sits up into the grip of the firearm, and that's, again, where the cartridges are held.
Do you know what the magazine capacity was?
It was a 15-round magazine, so it would hold 15 cartridges, excuse me.
Okay. And were you able to tell how many rounds were in the magazine?
There were 9 in the magazine.
And was there a round in the chamber?
There was.
Hey, Magic Angel.
And so was the round, the 15-round magazine with that was in the bullets, was in the firearm, was that labeled as 11A?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what has been marked as 79 and 79, state 79 and 79A. Are you familiar with what each of these is?
Yes.
Can you just describe to the jury what each one is?
Yes. State 79, which is marked in our evidence system as number 48, is the Glock firearm shown in the pictures that was found under the pillows of the bed. And state 79A, which is marked item number 53 in our evidence system, is the magazine and the cartridges that were included in the magazine and the one in the chamber.
Are you able to open
I can,
79?
Magic Angel, she was supposed to be asleep 2 hours ago. Her bedtime is 8 o'clock. We were in bed at 7:30.
Yep, you can show it to them. And were both of these items, the firearm and the magazine bullets, were those brought to the Vermont Forensic Lab for testing?
They were.
Looking at the bullets that were in the magazine, are you able to tell whether there's a head stamp on them?
Yes.
And can you tell the jury what that means and what they say?
Certainly. So the head stamp on the ammunition tells us the manufacturer and the gauge. So these are SIG 9mm Luger. So Luger is a style of bullet or a type of ammunition, and the 9mm is the caliber of the ammunition, and the manufacturer is SIG.
How many firearms total were located in the camper?
There were 6 total.
Jesus,
How many
that's a
pistols
little
or handguns?
overwhelming.
2 handguns.
And this being one of them.
Correct.
What was the second one?
Second one was a 9mm Taurus pistol.
Ugh.
show you what's been marked as states 50. Can you tell us what that is?
Yes, that is a 9mm Taurus pistol that was found in a kitchen drawer.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Judge. The state would move to admit 79 and 79A.
Any objection?
Objection.
They're admitted without
Yeah.
objection.
Where should I put them, Your Honor?
Looking at states 50A, can you tell us what this is?
Yes, so these are the two kitchen drawers opened, and the drawer on the right, you can see in the lower, in the front lower corner of the photo, there is the Taurus pistol in the leather holster.
Okay.
Another view of that sort of more.
So this is where that second handgun was located when you searched the van,
Correct.
and that holster was on it.
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what this is?
Sure. This is I would say, a storage cubby unit that had been built into the van above the head of the bed.
Okay. And did you search these baskets?
We did.
And can you tell the jury what is in this picture?
Certainly. In one of the baskets contained miscellaneous ammunition and also a silencer or suppressor.
Who
Was the
keeps
silencer
their ammo in a bag
suppressor
like that?
labeled as item 22?
That's just not safe.
I would need to refer to my report or an evidence list to be sure, but to the best of my recollection, yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as 52A. And would move to admit 52A, Judge, based on no objections.
Okay. Any objection? 52A is admitted without objection.
Can you tell the jury what this is?
Okay, so it was marked 22. This is the silencer or suppressor seen in the photograph that was in that basket with the ammunition.
Okay. And did you know, was the silencer sent to the lab for testing?
It was.
And did you notice anything of interest related to the silencer?
The items as they were collected were brought onto the command post where we have better lighting and a controlled environment to take better photographs. During the time when this was being examined and photographed and documented on the truck, there were red fibers, or at least a red fiber in the end of the silencer that were appreciated by members.
Okay. And were you able to collect that?
No, during the process of trying to collect it, we believe that it fell down into the barrel of the silencer.
Okay. So did you take a swab from the silencer?
We did take a swab of the silencer.
And was that labeled 22A?
Yes,
And did that go to the Vermont Forensic Lab for testing?
yes.
I'm going to show you states 53. I'll take,
Thank you.
can you tell the jury what's in this photo?
This is
No.
just in front of
No.
the bed made up the entire back of the camper, the rear of the camper. So just in front of that, looking down the camper on the left-hand side was like a couch area, if you will, two small chair type things. There was a space in between, so it's more of a chair than a couch, I guess, a seating area.
In states 54?
This is a photo from the kitchen area, again, looking to the back of the van, showing the bed.
States 55?
This is as each layer of bedding was removed from the bed, further photographs were taken. So this is down to the mattress with like a mattress topper on it. This is the mattress outside what you see in the previous photo, the underside of what you could see in the previous photo.
Okay.
This is the bed, the shelf that the mattress laid on after the mattress was removed.
Just make sure to note the number you're talking
Yes.
about when you talk about this.
Thank you. So I'm looking at states 57.
States 57 shows the base where the mattress laid on top of.
And there's a close-up in the next photo, but was there something of interest that?
There is a red-brown stain on the 1, 2, 3, fourth panel of wood up.
Okay. States 58.
Yeah, so this is a red-brown stain on the panel where the mattress had been laying on the bed.
Bloodstain?
What was the significance of taking the photos of the mattress and then of the wood underneath?
So when we brought the mattress outside of the van and took photographs of both sides, it was pretty clear that a bleeding event happened on what ended up being the underside of the mattress, the way we found it, right? On the left-hand side, so the side closest to the inside of the camper. There was a significant blood stain there. While that stain was still wet, the mattress was then flipped. So the stain is more on right side or the back side, towards the back of the camper.
Okay. And did you collect any swabs from the mattress?
We took a large cutting from the blood stain.
Okay, and did that get labeled as 17A, item 17A?
Yes,
And did that get sent to the lab for testing?
it did.
I'm looking at stage 59. Can you tell us what this is a picture of?
So this is the floor area, and you see the driver's seat of the van and the contents behind the seat. There is a faded red toolbox of sorts that had a red-brown stain on it, as well as, very hard to see in this photograph, but you can see the handle of a saw is also collected. There's the saw.
Stage 60, is that the saw that was in the previous photo?
Yes.
And stage 61?
State 61 is a close view of the end of the saw with a red brown stain on it.
Okay. And was DNA swab collected from the blade, the reddish brown stain on the?
It was.
And was that identified as 32A?
Yes, yes.
Gotta
Was that
put you
also
down
sent
for
to
a
the
minute.
lab?
It was.
Okay. Okay. What?
Tell us what this is a photograph of?
This is a photo
Here,
of a
Angel.
garbage can on top of not sure if it was a shelf or a refrigerator.
That's stage 62.
She said bye.
Stage
See you.
63.
Inside the garbage can is this bottle, which when it was removed is a bottle of bleach.
Stage 64.
The bleach bottle.
And stage 65?
This is the floor of the shower after the 8 bags were removed from the shower. There are red-brown stains on the floor of the shower.
Okay. And was a swab collected from the tub drain?
It was.
Was that labeled as item 36?
No, I believe those are 33.
The swab was also 33?
I believe so. If I could, I'd need to refer to my report to be sure. I believe 36 was a different swab of red-brown stains.
2 of them.
I'm gonna, just to be sure.
Yes, thank you.
You wrote several reports on this case. Would this be the van and processing report?
Yes, please.
I'm gonna show you what's been marked as state 107.
Thank you.
Just refresh your recollection.
Thank you so much. So 33, as depicted by the placard, 33 was 2 swabs of the shower floor that are seen there.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes.
All right. Do ghost pepper garbage.
I'm
Oh,
gonna just go back to the bleach bottle for 1 minute. When you were taking, when this picture was taken of the Hannaford bleach bottle, was there a known significance at the time?
That the van, we believe that the van had been cleaned.
All right. State 66, can you tell us what this is?
This is a not very clear photograph of the contents in what would be the passenger side floor area. There's various items there, but the item of significance to us was the Swiffer wet jet mop.
Okay.
well, that was unfortunate.
State 67.
Yes, this is a photo once the mop was removed out of that area.
State 68.
60 shows the bottom side of the Swiffer pad that is dirty with some red-brown stains as well.
And state 69.
This would be the side that sticks to the Velcro, so the upper side, but you can see that the red-brown stains have soaked through to the other side of the cloth.
And state 70.
State 70 is a bag that was also located in that area, shown a few photographs ago where the mop was. This is a garbage bag that contained a pair of gloves.
So this bag was not located in the shower, is that
Correct. This was not in the shower.
state 71?
Those are the gloves that were inside of that bag.
State 72?
This is the center console area of the van. And we're just sort of taking that photograph to show the area. And the next photograph gives you what we're actually taking a photo of.
State 73.
This ring was recognized by me as being Emily's engagement/wedding ring.
Okay. And how did you recognize that?
From my time earlier in the day going through social media posts, there's a photograph of Emily and Joseph on what appears to be their wedding day, and the ring is depicted in that photograph.
So state 74, is that just a closer?
That's a closer view of the ring, yes.
It's a
State
roof.
75.
This is another photograph because on closer examination of the ring, there were red-brown stains on the ring.
And so state 76, is this the photograph that you located on Facebook?
That's one of the photographs where I recognize the ring, yes.
And so this is a photograph of Mr. Ferlazzo and Emily Ferlazzo,
Yes,
and she appears to be wearing that ring. Is that the importance?
yes.
Did you also go to the Bear Run condo in question?
I did. It was a few days later, but yes.
Hi, baby.
Oh, I think I already did that. So, all right. State 77, can you tell us what this is?
So this is a photograph of the parking area. It is depicting the front of my truck, my cruiser at the time, as the parking lot was rather narrow, but a parking area that goes for the condos.
And state 78.
Another view of the condo.
And what was the significance of these photographs?
This was the condo that Mr. Ferlazzo's sister had rented for the weekend when Joseph and Emily came to visit them.
And were you also present for the autopsy of Emily Ferlazzo?
I was.
And where did that occur?
At the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner here in Burlington.
And do you recall when that occurred?
That occurred on the 20th of October, 2021.
Your Honor, if I may approach with states 122, which is the stipulation in which that is.
Any objection to stipulation of number 7? And 122 would be the state exhibit number. Members of the jury, the state and defendant, Joseph Ferlazzo, have agreed that you may find certain facts. This is called a stipulation. 8 black garbage bags were collected on October 9th, 2021 by Vermont State Police Detective Sergeant Damien Nolan during a search of the camper pursuant to a valid search warrant. The 8 black garbage bags were transported to the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner by Vermont State Police Detective Ben Katz. These bags were x-rayed by Dr. Shapiro at the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner on October 20th, 2021. Bags number 1 and number 2 did not contain human remains and were examined by Detective Sergeant Damien Nolan of the Vermont State Police. Bags number 1 and number 2 were in the same condition at the time of their inspection as they were when collected from the camper on October 19th, 2021. Bag number 1 was logged by the Vermont State Police as CSST band 1/CSST OCME, Office of Chief Medical Examiner 1. Bag number 2 was logged by the Vermont State Police as CSST band 2/CSST OCME 2. Bags number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8 contained human remains, and the contents were examined by Dr. Stephen Shapiro. Bags number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8 were in the same condition at the time of their inspection as they were when collected from the camper during the search on October 19th, 2021. Bag number 3 was logged by the Vermont State Police as CSST band 3/CSST OCME 3. Bag number 4 was logged by the Vermont State Police as CSST band 4/CSST OCME 4. Bag number 5 was logged by the Vermont State Police as CSST band 5/CSST OCME 5. Bag number 6 was logged by the Vermont State Police as CSST band 6/CSST.
All right. Just like when I read,
Bags number 7.
when I read,
was logged
he's
by
just gonna
Vermont
read
State
the
Police as CSST
numbers,
band
and he's gonna.
/Vermont State Police. Chain of custody of these items is not weight. You will give this stipulation. And 122 is the exhibit number.
Thank you, Judge. And the state would move to admit photographs 81 through 91.
Any objection? 81 through 91 are admitted without objection.
I give up.
Okay. So you said that the autopsy of Ms. Ferlazzo occurred on October 20th of 2021.
That's correct.
Hey,
What was
Jordan.
the first thing that you did in the autopsy?
All of the bags were placed into a transport bag. And the first thing that was done was that bag was documented and then opened. And then each bag was x-rayed.
Okay. What did you discover in the first bag?
In the first bag was a red throw pillow.
And for the record, I'm showing you what's been marked as States 81.
Yes, the pillow, as you can clearly see, appeared to have 2 bullet defects in it.
And was this throw pillow identified as item 1A?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as States 80 and judge the admission as States 80.
Did he put the pillow? Oh, ooh.
That's 80. Any objection, Ms. Johnson?
No objection.
80 is admitted without objection.
Describe for the jury what this is and the significance.
So this is the red throw pillow seen in the picture, along with the original packaging that it came in.
Was a sample of this throw pillow sent to the lab?
Yes, I believe there was a sample of it. Yes.
And when you saw this pillow in the first bag, did it look familiar to you?
It did.
And why is that?
There was another identical pillow on the couch sitting area of the van.
I'm showing you it's States 82. Is that the other mattress?
Yes, some very similar, if not identical pillow.
And what did you discover in the second garbage bag?
There was a bed pillow, which had a gray pillowcase on it. In between the pillowcase and the pillow was a projectile. And there was also a gray sheet, a fleece sheet in the bag.
Showing you what's marked as States 83.
So this is the gray pillowcase with the projectile on the pillowcase.
And was this projectile labeled as item 2A?
I would need to refer to my autopsy report if possible.
So, yeah.
Would it also likely be on the evidence?
It would, yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as States 108 for your recollection.
Thank you.
Your autopsy report. But I'm also going to just show you what's been marked as 83A.
Okay.
This dude is just
Yes, 2A.
so. I can't even, like,
So that is the projectile that was
Heartless.
located
It's the-
between the pillow and the
it's not a
pillowcase.
nice
Correct.
enough word.
Move to admit States 83A.
Ms. Johnson, any objection to 83A? 83A is admitted without objection.
And in States 84, you tell the jury what this is.
This is a projectile that was located within the actual pillow, not the red pillow, the other pillow that was in the bag.
Like a bed pillow.
A bed pillow, yes.
And was that projectile labeled as item 2B
Uh,
or 2B, I should say?
2B.
I'll show you what's been marked as States 84.
He, this was the
Yes, 2B.
this was like the dumbest thing that he could have done.
Is it admitted, Judge?
I'm sorry,
Sorry, 84A.
any objection? 84A is admitted without objection.
I'll show you what's been marked as States 85. Tell the jury what this is.
This is a cartridge casing, meaning a fired round of ammunition.
I'll show you what's been marked as 85.
Yeah, he confessed. Yeah,
And was
he
this
told his
noted
friend
as item
that called the
2?
cops on him
C?
when he
Yes,
asked
it
where
was
Emily
also
was,
located in
that he
garbage
unalived.
bag number 2.
So that's why he
Move to
claimed
admit
self-defense,
States 80.
because he
5A.
admitted that he did
Any
it.
objection,
So
Ms. Johnson?
That's one of
85A
your
is
only-
admitted without objection.
your only option.
And can you tell us what States 86 is a picture of?
This is the gray pillowcase that was on the bed pillow, located in bag number 2. This is the pillow that pillowcase was on.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as States 87A. Jury, what that is?
This is the pillow depicted in that photograph that was in the gray pillowcase.
And anything of significance you can still see?
There is a clear bullet defect in the pillow.
Judge, the state would move to admit states 87A.
Any objection? 87A.
And on the back side of that pillow, and also depicted in states 88, is that?
There, based on the x-ray, there was, the projectile we believed was in the filling of the pillow, so that's where I cut into the pillow to find the projectile.
Thank you. States 89?
This is the fitted bed sheet that was also in bag number 2.
States 90?
These are 2 unfired rounds of ammunition, also located in bag number 2.
And states 91?
This is a projectile that was removed from bag 4.
And show you what's marked as states 91A, also item 4A.
Yes.
Can you just tell us again what that is?
Yeah, it's a projectile.
And that was discovered in bag number 4?
Yes.
State would move to admit 91A.
Admitted without objection.
And was that item, that last item sent to the lab for testing?
It was.
What else is located in bag number 4, if anything?
Sorry. Emily's head.
Okay. And looking at that, were you able to determine Emily's identity?
Yes.
And how were you able to determine that?
I recognized Emily from photos.
I'm gonna enter stipulation number 8, Judge, states 123.
Any objection, Ms. Johnson? Stipulation number 8. Members of the jury, the state and the defendant, Joseph Ferlazzo, have agreed that you may find certain facts. This is called a stipulation.
All right.
Black garbage bags were collected on October 19th, 2000.
All it's going to do is go
by
through.
Vermont State Police Detective Sergeant Damien Nolan during a search of the camper pursuant to a valid search warrant.
If he gets
These
repetitive,
black
I'm
garbage
skipping.
Bags were transported to the office of the chief medical examiner by the Vermont State Police Detective Ben Katz. These bags were x-rayed and further analyzed by Dr. Shapiro at the office of the chief medical examiner on October 20th, 2021. Bags number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8 contain human remains. 5th, 9th,
Okay.
any
Eggs with human remains.
5th bag.
That is states 108.
I'm sorry, the name Jarvis Butts.
Okay.
We got off
Bag
topic with
number
that
5
last time.
contained a right arm and a left foot.
And what did you discover in the 6th garbage bag?
Bag number 6 contained the rest of the right leg.
And the 7th garbage
Not the
bag?
whole right leg, the rest.
Number 7 contained Emily's torso.
And the 8th garbage
Hey,
bag?
Harry. Thank you again.
Left arm and right foot.
And did you also collect swabs from the remains found in these bags?
From the remains, no. A DNA card was collected to have a sample of Emily's DNA, but the handles of the bags had been swabbed on scene on the 19th.
Okay, I was referring to the DNA card. Can you tell the jury what that means?
Sure. During autopsy, because it's always standard protocol to have a DNA sample of a victim or a decedent on file. So a blood sample is taken, a drop of blood is placed onto a card, and that's called a DNA card.
Okay. And was that DNA card labeled as item 15? Are you able to, is it?
Sorry, yes. Yes.
Okay. And was that sent to the Vermont Forensic Lab for testing?
Yes, it was.
When you were examining the remains, did anything about a particular area of the body surprise you given what you knew about the investigation?
Yes.
What caught your attention or what surprised you?
Dr. Shapiro actually drew my attention when he was examining Emily's torso.
Okay. And so did you look for yourself to see what had caught his attention?
I did.
And what about the body did you observe?
Several stab wounds in Emily's torso.
Okay. And what were the sort of approximate location of these stab wounds?
And so, just in case y'all didn't catch that, earlier they were talking about projectiles, pew pew shots, freedom seeds. And now they're talking about stab wounds. Talk about some rage, absolute rage, to not only throw a freedom seed at her, but then you took a sharp object and you proceeded to stab, and then you dismembered. This is the fact that he's claiming self-defense. No, self-defense is you felt your life was in danger. You did what you did, a few shots, whatever. And then you call the cops and you say, "Oh my God, she attacked me. I needed to defend myself." You don't proceed to put a sharp object through her, then dismember her body, then go to a barbecue. That's not how. This is not how that works. It's not how that works. Yeah, this was no self-defense. He's dumber than Boone.
Mostly upper chest, one particularly, which would have probably entered her heart.
And any on the backside of her torso?
I believe there were a few on the back as well.
And so did learning of this additional information during the autopsy lead you to search for anything additional in the van?
Yes, so because I was at the autopsy, my partner, Aaron McNeil, had shown up in the later evening on the 19th. So on the 20th, because I was going to the autopsy, he was sort of overseeing we thought we were wrapping up processing, but learning this information during autopsy, the focus then became collecting all knives found in the van, excuse me.
Okay, and so did you have Aaron McNeil go into the van and collect those knives?
He was still working in the van that following day, so we just sort of said, okay, we're now need to focus on any knives found.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
You ready?
What does the defense attorney have for her? There's no.
Just a few follow-up questions. And for clarification, you attended the autopsy as an observer, correct?
As an evidence collector.
Okay, but you didn't really have any part of conducting the actual examination, correct?
Correct.
And just a few questions back to the Maple Fields encounter the afternoon, excuse me, of October 19th, 2021. You already testified that when you were walking with Mr. Ferlazzo to your vehicle, you had observed him seeming as if he might pass out, and you asked to put your hand on him. Do you recall testifying in a deposition on November 11th, 2022? No, sorry, November 29th, 2022.
I recall testifying in a depo, yes.
Okay. And in the deposition, you also described him at that particular point as he looked woozy. Do you recall that?
That would be accurate.
Okay. And you also described him as wobbling as he was walking. Do you recall that?
Yeah, that would be accurate as well.
Okay. And also in the deposition, you described him as looking pale and pasty. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't.
As you were walking with Mr. Ferlazzo to your truck, did you ever tell him he was free to leave?
No.
Okay.
You never asked.
But he was essentially in custody, correct?
No, not at that point.
So if Mr. Ferlazzo had tried to walk away at that point, though, you probably wouldn't have allowed it, correct?
I would not have allowed it.
I'm just briefly, when you arrived at the St. Albans Vermont State Police Department, Vermont State Police Barracks, there was not an interview room available at that time, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Ferlazzo had to stand, everyone was standing and waiting in the hallway until the interview room cleared out, correct?
There were three of us with Mr. Ferlazzo at that time in a hallway, correct.
Okay. And you had stated in your report, as well as your deposition, that you offered Mr. Ferlazzo a chair as well as some water because, as you stated, he appeared physically exhausted and barely able to stand. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was leaning against the wall.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
You have no further questions. You have no case.
Okay. Ms. George.
No redirect, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
May we approach, Judge?
Hey, Roy. we're going to be done here in a minute or two. All right, skipping through their wonderful white noise of a Angel. You were supposed to go to bed 2 hours ago. Like, did someone give her caffeine? Yeah, you're tired. I know. You know what would make that better is if you went to sleep. I know. Toddler logic doesn't depict that, though. Toddler logic says that you have to stay up and fight it until you get frustrated and you throw a tantrum. Like, that's what toddler logic says. And we skip.
Tomorrow so we're going to break for today. Tomorrow is a shorter day, but I'm going to ask you to get here a little early. I'm going to ask you to get here at 8:15. I'm hoping to start at 8:30. We're going to go until about 12:30 and then break for the day because we have some things in court I have to do independent of this case. And then we'll start again and might get through the evidence on Wednesday. That's at least the hope. We'll see how things go, but so far we're definitely ahead of schedule. All right. So we're going to release you for today. Same admonition, please don't talk to anybody about this case. Don't try and find out any information
Oh yeah,
about it.
King Paco, I
any
lost.
news sources of any
Like,
kind or social media posts.
Let's be honest, I lost.
Have a good night, and we'll see you at 8:30 tomorrow morning.
All right, and let's see if they have anything to discuss before.
Any other issues anyone wants to discuss outside the presence of the jury before we break for the day?
No, thank you so much.
Why don't you all get here at 8:15 just to make sure there are no additional issues to take up before your first one.
And we'll start at 8:30. Okay.
Yeah, so.
The court is us to keep it. Okay.
All right, guys, there is a few more minutes on their feed, but they literally just hang out. So we are going to stop that. Yeah, I lost this battle. But you know what? Sometimes it just happens. Baby girl, can we not do that, please? Let me get. No. Yes, I know you like to play with things. I get it. So I am going to get going. We are going to break for the night. I try to keep these streams around 2 hours because court is a lot. Sitting through an entire court day is hard. The attention span is hard. So I know that it's not all testimony is interesting. So we have to kind of sit through the hard stuff to get to the good stuff. However, next week we will do days 3 and possibly 4 because day 3 was a short day. I think this was a 5-day trial. This trial was about a month ago. And after we get done with this trial, we're going to do a defamation case to stay away from the unalivings for a while. You guys have a great night. Say good night. Bye. We're going to try to go lay down with her. Hope she falls asleep fast because I need to go to sleep. We got lots to do tomorrow. I am in the process of making the merch designs right now. I am putting my logo on on a phone case. So thank you, ma'am, for putting that. So we are when I have the store up and running, I'll drop the link. I have to talk to Rosalind about a few things because she's smarter than me. So, and it's not about what you know. It's about who you surround yourself with. And if you surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, you will set yourself up for success because admitting that you're not the smartest person in the room is always a good thing. It keeps you humble, No. Say good night. No. Okay. Woo! All right. We're doing back bends. Y'all have a good night. And I will see you tomorrow night for Making America Healthy Again. We're going to talk about some chemicals in our food and how disgusting how little the government thinks of our health. And we're going to try to stay monetized in the process. Y'all have a great night. Say bye. Hi. All right. Y'all have a great night. Love ya. See you on the next one.